Hello and welcome everyone to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host Sam and you're watching Daily Immigration Dose. That is streaming live at 4 p.m. EST and we are live on YouTube, available on LinkedIn, Facebook, X and on Instagram as well. So if you want to keep yourself updated in the world of immigration, then make sure to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show and we come up daily with a different topic with very interesting topic on daily immigration doors. Also we have daily immigration news as well so that you guys can be stay updated regarding all the news that's happening in the world of immigration. But before that, let me read out this very important disclaimer. By watching our videos, you understand that the information shared, including user comments, is not professional advice. So use at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, it's just a casual exchange of ideas. All right, friends, thank you so much, everyone, for being here and joining us in this session. The great thing is that you can also participate in this session by dialing this number that is 425 with the access code 988888. And soon I'll be joining by my co-host Napasa Pradhan. But before that, also let me tell you guys that we have another very interesting topic to talk in today's session. That is how are U.S. schools coping with immigration uncertainty? So please let me welcome Napasa also. Napasa, hi, how are you doing? I hope you are also excited for this session.
Thank you so much, Sam. Yes, I'm very happy to be here. Somehow, though, just excuse me for today. I don't know what's happening. My throat is has been hurting, so I've been coughing in between. But I'm very happy to be here. And yes, it's another very exciting discussion today lined up on this very interesting topic.
Absolutely. I think that's okay, Napasa. We'll take break in middle so that you can at least have warm water and can give some relief to your throat. So I think with that, before diving into our today's topic, it's always good to have latest news update regarding immigration, what's happening in the world of immigration. So Napasa, please go ahead and share some latest updates with our viewers.
Absolutely, Sam. So I have a couple of news updates, and this first one is Costa Rica to help US repatriate Indian migrants in new agreement. So Costa Rica has agreed to work with the United States to help and send back illegal immigrants from US, including people from India and Central Asia. The first group of 200 migrants will arrive in Costa Rica on February 19th, 2025 at the Juan Santa Maria International Airport. These migrants will stay in Costa Rica temporarily before being sent back to their home countries. Costa Rica is helping the US in this process by acting a bridge to assist with their return journey. The US and Costa Rica reached this agreement as part of their efforts to manage immigration issues. The migrants will be cared for at a special facility in Costa Rica while they wait for repatriation. And yes, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, a global organization that helps with migration issues, will make sure that migrants have everything they need during their stay in Costa Rica. The US government is funding this entire process. The decision comes shortly after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his visit to the US, where he discussed important topics like immigration with, with United States President Donald Trump. In recent months, the US has increased efforts uh, to deport illegal immigrants, and these three groups, totaling 332 Indians, have already been sent back to India. Costa Rica's role in this process will help make the repatriation smoother for immigrants from India and Central Asia. This next news update is about ICE Philadelphia sends Salvadoran man wanted for homicide and terrorism back to El Salvador. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE in Philadelphia has deported Jonathan Stanley Garcia Vanquez, a citizen of El Salvador, on February 14th, 2025. Garcia was wanted in El Salvador for serious crimes, including aggravated homicide and being part of a terrorist group. He was first arrested by U.S. Border Patrol in June 2016 near Hidalgo, Texas, for entering the U.S. illegally. On the same day, Garcia was given a notice for expedited removal, but later in 2017, he was released on an immigration bond. In August 2018, law enforcement in El Salvador issued an arrest warrant for Garcia because of his involvement in homicide and terrorist activities. A U.S. immigration judge ordered Garcia to be deported back to El Salvador in October 2018. But he was not immediately removed. In December 2024, ICE arrested Garcia in New Jersey during a routine operation and moved him to a processing center in Pennsylvania. Garcia stayed in ICE's custody from the time of his arrest until his deportation. On February 14, 2025, ICE Philadelphia successfully sent him back to El Salvador, where he will face charges for his crimes. This operation highlights ICE's efforts to remove dangerous criminals from the US and return them to their home countries. So, those were a few news updates from my end, and the next few news updates is going to be from Sam.
All right. So, friends, I would like to talk about Canada's news. So, Canada urges universities to diversify international student recruitment. Canada's Immigration Minister Mark Miller is urging universities to look beyond India for international students and focus on attracting talent from diverse regions. So this is something that very new and very different we are going to listen in this news update. He also emphasized quality over quantity and encouraged schools to improve recruitment strategies. While acknowledging India's importance, Miller stressed the need for a more balanced student body. On immigration, Miller clarified that Canada won't adopt the US approach to illegal immigration as well. He warned that international students without legal status, including those with expiring work permits, must leave unless they transition to permanent residency or another visa. With this, I have another news, and that's about Trump's immigration crackdown targets law abiding immigrants at check ins and court hearings. Under the Trump administration, ICE has been arresting immigrants who show up for routine check ins or court appearances. Many law abiding immigrants, including those attending immigration appointments, are now being detained and deported. With daily arrest quotas of 1,200 to 1,500, officers are targeting individuals with little or no criminal records. Some immigrants have been tricked into ICE custody, like a Miami teacher with DACA protection. This has sparked fear among families, and concerns over ICE operations in courthouses are discouraging people from attending hearings, also risking their chance for legal status too. Well, this crackdown is creating widespread fear and uncertainty in immigrant community, potentially disrupting the immigration process as well. Moving ahead with my next news, that's schools nationwide struggle with anxiety over Trump's immigration policies. So, Trump's immigration policies are causing fear in schools across the US. In Fresno, also, rumors about ICE raids at school led to panic, while in Denver, a real raid caused many students to stay home. In Texas, a school official falsely warned that Border Patrol might board buses. Many immigrant families are scared that ICE would detain their children at school. One mother in Colorado also stopped sending her kids to school due to fear of family separation. While ICE hasn't entered school yet, the fear remains. Some states are trying to pass laws to make it harder for undocumented children to attend school. But many districts are offering support and information to families during this uncertain time. So, friends, these were some of the news updates from my end and from Napasa's end as well. And with that, I would like to directly jump into our today's topic of discussion, that is, how are US schools coping with immigration uncertainty? So, this is a very important topic and a very hot topic as well, and a very sensitive one because we have been going through a lot of different video clips also, how school administration are reacting, how Trump's administration are reacting, how other people are reacting. So they all have their own point of view, they all have their own perception. And in today's video, I think we'll bring all those perception in front of you so that you can decide at the end of this episode which one is correct and which one is not. Though every story has two sides, and we will definitely shed both the sides of the story very clearly and very simply. And you can also put up your side of story or your side of perception by dialing this number, that is 425-43-66335, with the access code 988888. And with that, Nipasa, I think let's begin our very first session. With the very first topic. So, yeah, please go ahead.
Very well said, and it's a very timely topic, you can say, with raids happening, ICE, doing their patrols and raids. It's been scary and anxious, the whole situation out there for immigrants. So
Yeah.
yes, the impact of immigration policies on schools in the United States has become a kind of a growing concern for school authorities, for school students, for parents, for relatives, local guardians of these students, and especially now, with President Trump's administration. So parents and children, both documented and undocumented, they are experiencing anxiety, in a very, very high level, you can say, due to recent policy changes and whatever has been happening. Sorry.
Absolutely.
So yes, Trump's executive actions, and when we talk about deportations also, we have been saying in the news almost every day about deportations happening. Many immigrants being sent back to their home countries, and it has been bothering so many people out there. And it's having a rippling effect because immigrants are feeling like, who's going to be next? Is it me? What is going to happen now? My status is, not. I mean, I'm not in status. I don't have the right documents right now. Or even if you have the documents, it's just been very scary a situation, I think. So today we will be talking about that. And folks out there, if you have your friends or your family or yourself, maybe you have an experience with what is happening out there, you can share that with us. I mean, you can even be anonymous if you wish. So, but yes, join us on call. It'll be very nice to know your side of the story.
Absolutely. And with that, I think I should also like to give quite just about the story or the news, that's happening. So basically, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has said that schools won't be considered as sensitive locations anymore, and raids will happen there. So the major controversy that's happening in the US is about school, because schools are considered as a very sensitive location and a very vulnerable area, because children are there, the future of the nation are there. So everybody is concerned that how Trump's administration are being so negative about it, and how they are being this strict enough to remove the illegal immigrants, that they are taking steps also against children. They are targeting schools as well, churches and hospitals as well. So this is why people are very concerned about it. And also, the school, there are families, there are parents who are having this fear in their mind, that what if they are going to send their children to the school? What if they don't come back? Or what if they are sending their children to the school, but what if their parents won't be able to meet their children back? Maybe suddenly the ICE agents could come to their home, or suddenly the ICE agents could come to the school and would directly check out their immigration status and found out that they are undocumented or illegal, and would directly go with the deportation procedure. And ultimately they will be having a separation, in their family. And that's really heartbreaking, that's really sensitive, because it's really, I would say, a very tough situation for those families, because nobody wants to separate themselves, and nobody wants, to get away from their children or their husband or their wife. And with that, but currently what the thing is that this is creating a lot of anxiety among students, parents and educators as well. And even in Fresno, California, school attendance has been dropped to 700 to 1,000 students each day, just because of the fear that one day the ICE agents will directly come for raid, and they will start deporting those illegal students. So that is why students are not going to schools. Parents are not sending them to the school. They are not even coming out of their house, only for the fact that they may get caught, or what if they can be deported. And also these fears are actually going beyond their the life that they are having, the life that they imagine there. And in response, also various schools also are implementing some measures to ensure that students and parents are safe. They are coping up with them. They are trying to help those students. They are trying to help those families with different pointers that we are going to talk in today's session in detail, how they are helping, what steps they are taking, schools administration. And also till now, but there hasn't been any raid yet in schools. But soon it may happen, or we don't know what Trump's administration is about to get new steps. But till now, it hasn't happened yet. But only the anxiety, only the fear that what the families and what the students and the teachers they have in their mind, it's creating a lot of chaos. It's creating a lot of I would say, disturbing situation right now in the US. So yeah, that's what the situation is right now, Nepasa, and it's a very difficult time for everyone, and the whole scenario I told right now. So let's begin with like how schools are coping up with the situation and how they are helping out, right? So let me point out the first one that I would like to address. That is, they are trying to create safe zone. The schools administration are trying to create safe zone. How? Because many schools have declared themselves as safe zones. Even though the DHS has declared school as not being a sensitive location for raid, but still, school administration have their own policies, have their own perception, and they won't go against with that. So that is why they have declared themselves as a safe zone, meaning that they will not allow the immigration enforcement agents to enter the school unless there's a legal warrant.
Mm.
And this practice has been implemented so that they can help families, they can help children, they can help students, and so that they can make them feel secure about sending their children to school without having any tension in their mind of being targeted by immigration raids. And some schools even post signs or issues, public statements to reassure parents that their children will be safe. And if they are sending their children to the school, then no need to worry. They are in proper safe zone. And this measure is especially important in districts with a very high population of immigrant families, because it's obviously more chance of ICE agents to, I mean, conduct raid in those places only where there are high population of immigrant families. So I think by making schools a refugee, it gives children a chance to focus on learning also without fear. And it also reassures families that their children are in a protected environment, because most of the children, it's also impacting their education as well. They're not able to focus on the study. They're not even going to schools. Their parents are not sending them to schools. So there are so many things what those immigrant families are facing, what those students are facing, and even teachers. They are also not liking it, and of course, school administration is not liking this. So yeah, I think this is the first way how they are trying to cope up. So Napasa, please go ahead and add anything else into this conversation.
Absolutely, you're right. And the authorities, especially teachers, they're trying their best to also have this sort of a good bond with their students, as in like consoling them, that letting them know what they can do. And
Mhm.
of course, schools also coming to the point that they cannot just let raids happen without a proper warrant. So they're all doing their bits, and I really hope that schools become like you said, Sam, the safe place, right? But like, I don't know what happens when these I mean, what the students go through, when these raids happen, or just the fear that these raids are going to happen.
Mhm.
Imagine the whole thought process, how afraid they could feel, and how anxious they feel, right? So this is a scenario maybe you and I may not really understand so much, because we are not in that much kind of a stress. But these students, especially, who who are undocumented or who are children of undocumented parents. I mean, they're all scared all the time, and I really hope that things get better. And yeah, I can't say that Trump's administration is doing the wrong thing. Yes, they are doing their best to do what they said they will get done. So this is a part of that process as well. But I think not everybody was super ready to be exposed to all of this so suddenly. So maybe with the I mean, if only these could come with like beforehand, like giving us warning signals. But then of course these are raids and it can happen only when it's a surprise. So yeah, I think we'll just have to be ready, more ready than ever. And yeah, Sam.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. Here's another, I would like to add on this conversation about the story of mother, whose name is Angela Hernandez, and she is a mother in Aurora, Colorado. And she actually began to keep her children home from school after Trump's inauguration. Not even the time when after the day of Trump executive order that has been implemented, but only the day when Trump came into the office, from that day only, she had that much fear that they can be deported or the children are not safe in the US anymore. So she started to keep her children home just after Trump's inauguration. And she was afraid that immigration agents, would visit the schools and detain her children anyhow. Even though her family was also seeking asylum legally, but still the constant changes in immigration policies have left her, I would say, unsure of her family's safety. So there are so many cases, there are so many stories that we might go through some video clips also on YouTube. We have seen how those parents are being so concerned about their students, and they're not sending them to school, they are not sending them to anywhere, because they are so much anxious about the deportation. What if they're having this thing that if they are sending school to their children, then what if they get deported or what if they get caught? So yeah, I think these are certain things that they are going through, and with that, another way how schools are trying to cope up was another very interesting thing that there was an immigrant, he wasn't coming out of from their house only because of this fear that they might get deported. So the school principal has emotionally affected, and after a family reached out to them, and that family expressed like fear of leaving their home. So what did that principal do? He buy groceries due to concerns about immigration enforcement. So they are not just taking care of keeping their students safe, but they are also taking care to their parents, to their families also, by sending them the groceries. They are going to the departmental stores, they are buying those things, and they are sending it to their, I mean, leaving it to their doorstep so that they can feel safe. They can have that safety around them. And the family was likely afraid of being deported or would say targeted by immigration authorities while outside their home. So the principal personally went for shopping and purchasing, $100 worth of groceries and delivering them to their home. And the principal was so moved by the family situation that they sat with the family and cried together and sharing in their emotional distress also. This act of this shows, this is really a strong connection, I would say, school and those families, because school are not trying to differentiate between the illegal immigrants and the legal immigrants. They are just on the agenda that every student, I would say every child, deserves education, deserves right to education, right? And that's why they are helping those families and they are coping a lot with them. And this act shows that they are so kind and deep compassion and support that some schools officials are bringing to help families in distress during this difficult time. So this is also how they are trying to help, and this is also how they are trying to cope up with the families. And they are obviously not trying, they are not willing to, say goodbye to those students. And of course, they don't want that, and they're completely against with this statement or what Trump's administration has brought up. And yeah, this is the thing, first of all.
Yes, that's right. And we see that, there's sort of this bond that's being created, with friends helping out friends who are really afraid to go just buy groceries because of these situations. I mean, imagine being an immigrant right now. So this fear of being an immigrant in America is
Mhm.
becoming, it's heightened every day, and with all these news and everything. Of course, I would also like to say that do not believe all sorts of news. See that they're real, because sometimes even a lot of rumor creates so much misunderstandings. So yes, with that said, also, we also saw like Oklahoma, where a proposed rule in Oklahoma required parents to show proof of citizenship when enrolling their children in school, even though the rule allowed parents to register without documents. So many saw it as a way to discourage enrollment, and the state's governor later vetoed it as well.
Right. And there was some news also, some fake news that there's a sudden
Yeah.
ice raid in buses where students are just, I mean, when the students get into the buses, there's an ice raid. So, it created a lot of panic in families, and they were really concerned about these things. And we don't know who are spreading these rumors, but it's actually spreading a lot. And most of the people, they are getting into the trap of these fake news. That's why their concern, their anxiety is increasing to the next level. But Nipasa, do you think that, I mean, we can't imagine, how those families are feeling right now, absolutely, because it's very hard, easier said than done, I would say. But of course, the news is false, but the fear is real, right? So, do you think that those families, the students, can get a better, I would say, can get that soften what to say, the Trump's administration are going to be a little lenient towards those students, or they are going to stick on their agenda of deporting even on schools?
See, I'm sure that they knew that they saw this coming, sooner or later, they knew this was coming, especially the parents, I mean, of course, like, it's like children are born to them, but it's sad when parents also cannot help out with their documentation process. I mean, I wish they could just see it through. That brings me to also ZQ 258. But isn't it the parents' duties to keep their migrant papers updated? If something will happen, God forbid, then the kids will face the brunt. So, yeah. So basically, I mean, it brings me back to this only, that, I mean, if they were so concerned that they would not send their kids to school today, but instead of doing that, if only a few years back they could see that their documents were right, their papers were right, they wouldn't have to see this day, right?
Mhm.
So, but yes, they saw this coming, they had this coming, right? Who
Of
can
course,
help?
but I think there are certain process, when we look on the videos and when we look on the statements that what these immigrant families have said, undocumented people, then they mostly said that they have been waiting for their visa status to get approved, or waiting for their court hearings from maybe decade or maybe 5 years, 6 years. So, there's also a long process that they have been hearing. I'm not saying that that is correct, but there's another way, another story also. Maybe those families are trying a lot. Maybe they get
Yeah.
rejected, or maybe, on the day of court hearing, anyone falls sick, or maybe they weren't able to go there. So there can be certain situations as well, and due to some reason, they might not be able to get those documents. But I think that's what, the school administration are being very emotional, and they are also looking upon the psychological effect of students, because they think that students are very vulnerable, they have this very fresh mind, and it's not possible for them to understand this ice raids, and understand these why these police officers are coming to the school and asking those questions on their citizenship status. So they are
Or
having
maybe
this.
they, yeah. Or maybe they understand that also, but the trauma is real. The whole idea of separation, whether you talk about separation from the parents, separation from the rest of the classmates, their friends, the country where they where they have been brought up to just leave all that. The whole thought of separation is pretty traumatic. So it has a very huge impact,
Mhm.
whether you talk about being able to concentrate in class, doing their studies well, or being able to perform, all the other activities well. It's certainly depressing and building a lot of anxiety.
It does, and that's why school administration is helping them also by providing them the legal support. From them side, they are trying their level best to protect the students as much as possible. And if not offline, then they are having those sessions, having workshops, so that those undocumented immigrants can join those sessions online, and they can guide them how they can protect themselves if they get questioned from ICE agents. Also, what are the constitutional rights they have, and what are the legal rights they have. So they are focusing it a lot, and they are trying to help them in every way that's possible. And yeah, I think that's how they are trying to cope up with those immigrants and helping them as well. So yeah.
Yes, they're trying to cope up with the Trump's administration's new policies and all these stricter rules, of course. And it's a great step taken by everyone, coming up with know your rights,
Yeah.
educational stuff, in the school, outside the school. And yeah, I think there's a lot happening, but I really hope that it settles. And folks out there, I think you should not just worry. I don't know how it's easier said than done, of course, but I still need to say that if you are on status, if your documents are all fine, and I mean, I think it's always best to know your rights properly, do your research properly. How can you deal with it, no matter what your status is, what your situation is, so that, when a situation like that arises where you're asked questions or interrogated, you are able to answer rightly or stay silent rightly. So
Mhm.
just know your rights, know what you can do, so that, you can prepare yourself if a situation like that arises.
Absolutely. And with that, I think, friends, we will take up some comments as well, but after a short break, so that we can also get more comments and we can ask more questions as well. So let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It's me, Sam, and joined by Nepalsa co host. And today we are having a very important discussion on the topic: how are US schools coping with immigration uncertainty? So make sure to watch the session till the end and keep watching Immigration Talk Show. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Sam, and today we have a very interesting conversation that's going on, a very hot and very sensitive topic about how are US schools coping with immigration uncertainty. So till now, we got to know some scenarios, some stories of immigrants as well, and how they are reacting, how school administration is taking steps in this very tough time, and what can happen, how is it affecting the students. It's impacting their education also, as students are not coming to school. The attendance is very less as compared to their earlier attendance. Now the attendance is very less, so there are so many things that's going on, and with that, I think Mia Nepasa has shared a lot of things in our today's episode. And now let's take some of our viewers' comments as well to see what they are saying in today's topic. So let's
Absolutely, Sam. I
yeah.
think I'll start first with Cynthia's comments. Hi, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us. I wonder where you have joined us from. Welcome to Immigration Talk Show. And Cynthia says, since President Donald Trump took office on January 20, immigrants have been scrambling to keep themselves safe amid emerging executive orders, nationwide raids, and assaults on birthright citizenship taking aim at diversity. Trump has also signed an executive order that directs federal funds to be withheld from schools with diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI programs. Across the country, undocumented students seeking a higher education have been caught in the crosshairs of much of the political attacks. That is true. So thank you so much for participating, Cynthia. I wish like you could also join us on call. But very great points you have mentioned, and how can we forget? You know, even before he took the office, he was already saying that the first thing he's going to do when he joins office is, you know, deport as much as possible. All the immigrants, illegal immigrants rather. So that is what he's trying to do, and for that he's trying to check out who are not supposed to be in America, and I think he's doing so. So yes, whether you're talking about emerging executive orders every day ever since he joined, yes, there has been a lot of changes, and then raids happening everywhere. That's very right, nationwide raids, and yes.
Hi, Sam and Napasa.
Hi, Rajni, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. So, again, you guys are discussing on a very important and a very good topic today. And this is something that needs to be addressed. And just now, I think I went through I saw a news where, okay, if I can share my screen maybe and show it to you guys also. Um, Let me just quickly share my screen and can you all see this? So I just saw that a minivan being used for deportation efforts by ICE has been set on fire in Philadelphia. And there's this person called Nick who tweeted this about this, and he said this is literal terrorism, and he's blaming the opposition party and is saying, lock them up. So we can see immigration is causing, actually not immigration but deportation is actually causing a lot of issues and a lot of problems, because of which, see, these minivans of police and are also being attacked, are being set on fire. We can see so many things happening. So I mean, there's actually a lot of that there are a lot of things to be worried about actually, but what I think is, about these students especially, if the question is whether these students should be getting worried or whether these schools should be getting worried, regarding deportation or not, I would say yes and no, because of course uncertainty does make it difficult for schools, and also for these students. who are immigrants, right? But then if you are here in the country illegally, then you should be worried about. But then sometimes, it also, what happens, Sam and Nepasa, is I think more than deportation and more than being an undocumented immigrant or an illegal immigrant, some of them who are there on temporary visas, and who don't know, who might be thinking of renewing their visas, right? And who might be under like a program like DACA. So when there is an administration as strict as this administration, and they don't know when the policies might shift, right? So we already know that DACA is threatened, and now the visas will also get harder to renew, right? So
Mhm.
this is also causing a lot of stress for these students. Even if they are documented, even if they have the right kind of papers, everything is right, but now now they want to renew their visas. Now their parents want to renew their visas just so they can stay in the country, and that will be harder. So this is actually causing a lot of stress to these students. And I mean, think about a kid who's constantly worried about their parents being deported, right? So we know that they aren't really going to focus in a class. So of course, and teachers can see this all the time, right? The schools can of course see this all the time, and
Mhm.
the students are getting anxious, struggling with the grades, and then um, dropping out of class, not attending the class, not having the kind of attendance that they used to have earlier. And also, I also read somewhere that because of all these problems, what's also happening is, some of the families, because of the deportation and legal issues, some of the families are also planning to relocate, um, which is actually also leading to fluctuating the students classes. And now, because of which they're not attending the classes, because they are thinking that they should probably move to another state or move to somewhere else, right? So a lot of things are actually going on. So of course, deportation is one of the major issues, but then apart from that, renewing the visas, and the constant fear of what if this program under which they are staying in the country legally, under if that gets threatened. And so I think so. I think so. I think one of our other viewer is also wanting to join. So yes,
Yes,
please.
ZQ is on the line. Actually, he just called just now. So,
Okay.
hello, ZQ. You can speak. Tell us where you have joined us from. Thank you so much, and welcome to Daily
Hey,
Immigration News on Immigration Talk Show.
yeah, I'm just a bit of a traveler. That's it. I I am now in the States, but I was the last time I had called. I was in another country. I was in Europe. But this topic that you guys talking about, this has really piqued my interest. And Rajni, I believe, is on the other side. Rajni, I don't know. I personally think, from my point of view, is that if the parents have been living in this country or in any country for that matter, as I said, like I'm a bit of a traveler. I go from this country to that country a lot. So wherever you go, you need to have your documents. And if your documents are not up to the par, if your documents are not right or anything, then you will be stopped. Okay, you will be stopped. So I don't know what do you think? Because if parents and their families have been living in the states for a long time, and now the what do you call it, the authorities are coming knocking on their door asking about whether their papers are up to date or not, and if they find that the papers are not up to date, and this is about families who've been living in the country for about 10, 20, 30 years, so the law will act into it. The law is pretty much the same everywhere. Okay, if you don't have the papers, you have to leave. So
Uh,
it's the same thing. It's like I faced the same thing once. Like my passport had expired, and then I had thought that like my passport was valid, but when I went to the agency to have it actually when I went to the embassy to actually have it stamped for a visa, a tourist visa, I forgot. I had totally forgotten. So that was a mistake on my side. So, and now if people are crying and hooing, eyeing about these things, then the children will be affected. That's what I think.
No,
That's what I think.
Ziki, absolutely. I do agree with you on the point that, if you don't have papers and if you're here in the country illegally and you're undocumented,
Mm.
of course, you will have to face um, things. But then, there are also families who have the right kind of papers, who are there legally, and maybe now the time has come when they have to renew their visas, right? And we know the current administration is already strict on these points too. So now maybe they might also face issue with renewing their visas.
But my thing is that why now? Why after this election? Why after President Trump had come in?
No,
Why do these
because
things
there's
when
also
like
because there's also a time that you can live under you can live in a country, because if you are on a visa, you have some certain time period, and you have to follow that time period. And now maybe for some of them the time has come to renew their visas, because they are not left with much time. So now maybe they are planning to renew their visas. So
Mm.
but because the current administration is so strict with everything, with their policies and with their reforms and everything that they are trying to do, and trying to make the immigration department strict.
that's all fine and dandy. That's hunky dory peachy and everything. Okay, that's fine. Okay, the times have overlapped. Okay, you probably came in 4 years ago. 4 years it was President Biden in power, Democrats were in there, and now Trump is here. Republicans are in power. Fine, times are overlapping. Something or the other has happened. But at the end of the day, who's going to face the brunt? Based upon the topic of discussion today, it's about the children's being the raids in the schools that possibly might happen or might not happen, or possibly they are happening, because I didn't actually uh, be able to actually see any of these raids in the schools or anything. Yeah, I did see a few ICE officials here and there that was on the side and everything, but yeah,
Sorry to
I think
interrupt,
also
yeah,
Zico.
the
sure, sure,
parents
Sam,
will
go ahead.
also. I think Zayed and Sam. I think the parents will have to be very careful about what they are discussing in front of their kids and in front of their children, right? And also the schools. They will have to be very careful, because the kids and the students, they have impressionable minds, and they are very soft, and they will have to be very careful about what they are talking. So I think this is something that the parents will have to take responsibility of, and also the schools will have to take the responsibility of. um, right, ZQ and Sam, what do you think? Because you can't be discussing these, such sensitive matters in front of your small children, right? Who have like exams to take care of, their classes to take care of. I'm sure you are under a lot of pressure, and you have a lot of
that
anxiety
that
and
is what
stress.
I can agree on. That is something that I can agree on. Do these behind closed doors, not in front of the kids. Keep the kids focused in school, because that's what they need to do. That's what they need to do. That's what they need to know about. Um, but and if the schools are actually, in a way, like Sam and Nipasa, they were also talking about, one teacher, she brought the groceries for their family and everything. So that's really sweet. That's really kind and everything. But how many of these acts are going to be there? Okay, humanitarian. I think even the humanitarian aid, like there's a thing called, I don't know if you know about it in states. It's called soup kitchens. Okay, soup kitchens are like those places where you can go and get some free food and everything. If you're really really destitute, if you're really poor, if you don't have anything. Okay, I'm not saying that you open up soup kitchens in the name of schools. Schools are not actually supposed to do that. Okay, but um, where else are these children going to go? They have to go to school. So the schools have to educate the children themselves. Don't be afraid. Come to school. Um, that's it. It's like
I
because
think I
their
think
focus should be on
ZQ.
the, yeah.
Yeah, I think, schools should definitely be more responsible about, what they are doing and what they're saying in front of their students. But then talking about universities, I think most of the universities, right,
That
especially in
is
the
a
US,
place, yeah,
university
yeah.
is.
Universities and colleges, that is a place where these rates might be happening in a long,
But then we know that these
very fervent
universities,
state, you
they
might say.
depend on international students, right?
Yeah.
And we know why they love
America
international
is a
students so much
place
because
of
they bring
immigrants. America
these.
is a place of immigrants.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
but
built
but
on
but talking
immigrants.
about but talking about these universities, what I feel is because they love international students. Why? Because I think they bring in a lot of tuition dollars, right? And
Yeah.
international
International
fees.
tuition fees are, yeah,
Yeah.
I also had to pay through
So
my nose, and my family had to pay through my nose to actually study over there. Uh, yeah, it's because the international students are coming in. That's why there are the schools are functioning. Like in America, when you say schools, it means the universities, the colleges, and high schools also. It doesn't actually mean the kindergartens and the middle schools. It means the entire education system. So I don't know what the Trump administration is trying to do. Yes, targeting the illegals, that should have been done for the past 4 5, even during Biden's administration and everything. That's what I would say. But now people are just feeling the brunt of it everywhere. That's what I think.
But ZQ, I would like to also say something into it that you
Yeah,
said,
sure.
right, that why immigrants right now, why they are so concerned about their documents and why they are having that panic
Yeah, yeah,
situation right now.
yeah.
So I think that's a very good point that you put up. That why now? It's a question in everybody's mind. But I think ZQ, it's not only about what immigrants are going through the procedure, but also how
Mm,
the administration is taking care of that nation. Because if we look
mm.
on the past administration, Biden administration was actually lenient towards the immigrants, right? There were asylum seeking everywhere, and even anyone who
Yeah, and
illegal,
then what happened?
there was
Gangs like the Argentinian TTA, Trendy Aruga, the
people there.
MS-12 or 13, and then like
Yeah.
they came in. They came in, and then illegals from, I will not even mention
Mhm.
names. A country like V, country like G, country like N. So a lot of these people, they, yes, even if they're trying to come in legally, some way or another way they end up on the wrong side of the road. Okay,
They do
like,
end up, but where the problem was that they weren't being put up behind the bars, they weren't being questioned because
yeah.
nowadays also we are going to a lot of cases. You will wonder that this case you have heard in 2018, in
Mm,
2010. So for one immigrant, for one illegal immigrant, the case goes for like 10 years, 15 years only for their final court hearing. And
mm,
even there are so many cases also, the subway also, the immigrant who have fired that woman, even that case also, that immigrant, he came back to USA after 2 or 3 years, and then he again detained, then he came back again, then he deported. So
yeah,
this
yeah.
process, so this will go to an end only when there will be a very, I would say, strong barrier in USA's nation and the other nation. So I think
Mhm.
this is how, if we talk about school, churches, and hospitals, so obviously it's a very sensitive location. But what else these immigrants and where else these immigrants are going to hide themselves? It's not that Trump's administration are trying to be violent or they are trying to, snatch away the children's and they are going to make them suffer physically. Of course not. That's not going to happen. But of course, they have the right to ask questions. They have the right to ask. Where do they come from? Who are their parents? Are your parents legal here or not? And I think that's how they are going to find out more and more number of illegal immigrants. It's not possible for them to sit at home and to just directly say that to anyone. They are also risking their life. Now what Rajni has shared the video, the car in Philadelphia, they have been burned in fire. So
Hmm.
what if any ICE agent would be inside in the car? So anything can happen. They are also risking their life, and also they
Yeah,
have
but
that.
that's what I just said a few minutes ago. That's arsonist. Okay, that's an act of a, yeah, I have to say it. It's an act of a terrorist.
Yeah,
Okay, that's an act of a terrorist. It's like
that's what the tweet
you
also
cannot
said.
you
Yeah.
cannot just simply walk up to a person and slap them for no reason and expect that, oh, I am insane, let me go. Well, this is something that is happening in America. It's like, uh, you can plead uh, having a mental illness and you can go scot free.
Mhm.
Okay, this is something insane. Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I was just pulling up some numbers over here. Okay, I was just going through an article and it said that, like, schools have been under 2017 2018 survey. Yeah, and I'm saying about this is about 7 8 years ago. Okay, 3,600 educators from 13 states and over 760 schools have examined that the impact of immigration enforcement on on the nation's schools have been directly because of one immigrant parent. In 2019, 1 in 8 U.S. residents, 12% of the country's population, was a native-born U.S. citizen with at least one immigrant parent. That is how America is at the moment, isn't it? There are Hispanics, there are Chinese, there are Indians, Pakistanis, uh, people from all over the world who are coming into America, and they are getting the citizenship, and they are having children, and those children are going to schools. So people are meeting each other. Maybe one person is white, another one is Chinese. Maybe one person is Chinese, another one is black. They're meeting, they're having kids, and that child then is going to a school. And if these parents are not taking the proper steps to actually get their papers right, then there's a child who's going to be, then the child will go into foster care.
I
At
think
the end of
now
the
they
day.
will do. Now they will do because things are being changed, and when things get changed, I think everybody has to suffer a bit because obviously it's a renovation kind of thing, and when there's a renovation happens, then there are some debris, there are some I would say construction. I mean, there are some changes happen. So it's just they are trying to filter it out. They are trying to make it better. And absolutely, Trump's administration has been very vocal about that they are going to focus more on Americans. They are trying. They're not going to give
Now here's the
any
thing. Here's the
chance
thing.
to
When they
make
say
them suffer.
Americans,
Yeah.
they don't mean a person of color, and I don't mean like an African American or a Chinese
No,
American
no, no.
or Indian American. They mean a white American. Okay,
No, no, no.
so
That's not the thing. That's something very different. Because even in Trump's administration, we have been seeing a lot of different Indian Americans also.
yes,
Tulsi Gabbard,
yes,
Vivek
yes,
Ramaswamy,
they
Elon Musk also. He's not American actually born. So it shows that Trump's administration are, of course, not racist. They are, I mean, secular. They
I
are
mean, they can, of course, they can, they do. I mean, they can favor to I mean, to ZQ's statement. I would like to say that I think they can be somewhat a little bit biased towards them, but completely in favor of them. I don't think so. That's going to happen because that we already have seen in under
One
Trump's
thing,
administration.
one thing I do like what President Trump is trying to do is that he is trying to filter out the good from the bad. And when I say like the good apples from the bad apples, has been like all the illegals, they're being filtered out, and even maybe in the education system, uh, processing the H1Bs and everything, the F1s and everything. So he is now actually looking into getting the best of the best. Okay, maybe
Right.
I did mention this about in another. I had mentioned this at a comment maybe a few days back or something. So I think that is what he's wanting to do. Yeah, and in a way that should be a point for any country.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, mediocrity is there. You can be mediocre, you can be ordinary, you can be average. But if you are lazy and if you're not doing any work and you're like trying to be dependent upon the system, oh, the government is going to give me, it's like I'm going to sit on the side of the road and I'm going to put up my hands and it's like, oh, God's going to give me. No, God is going to help you if you help yourself. That's what I think. So
No,
yeah,
absolutely.
Trump
Even when President
is
Trump was assassinated the first time,
uh,
if you remember, there were these memes also created of that of the security women who was trying to protect President Trump.
yeah.
We all saw that, right?
That's kind
So I think they will have to be very careful about who they are hiring
of,
and So they will, of course, have to hire the best of the best. They can't do, I mean, they can't make any mistakes, especially in this term.
And the
I don't
funny
think
thing is
so.
that, like, the people who tried to assassinate him, they were not even, they were people who were born in America. They were not
Yeah.
immigrants. So
And
what is it?
not Indian American or
Exactly, not a
American.
person of color, not a
Yeah.
person of color in any aspect, not a black, not a brown, not a. It was a
A
white.
white American, if we can say it out loud.
We just have to say it out loud, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope they don't track us. Blah.
So so yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I'm sure, and I also feel sad about it. But then, if they have to do things, if they have to implement strict rules, and if they have to restore things.
Hmm.
I think RK is also here and he has a comment to make. But then, so what I was saying was if they have to implement things rightfully, now what they have to do is there are going to be people, there are going to be families who will suffer. I'm so sorry. I feel really bad when I'm saying this, but then
Hmm.
so that everything can be right, things will happen, which people will suffer, and I
Yeah,
think that's
RK
how
is
things
saying
are going
something
to
good.
be.
I got a scoot. I got a skedaddle. But RK, I think he's saying something good.
If you
Let me
understand
see.
US
Understand?
immigration, if your parents brought you to the country illegally apart from the marriage and humanitarian visa, there is no path to legalization based on your merit unless you self. Okay, maybe Arki, you can join us on this call.
Hmm. Hey,
Absolutely.
thanks for your time, guys. Thanks for letting me in. I gotta check up on some stuff.
All right. Thank you, ZQ.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Yeah,
ZQ.
much.
no
Yeah,
problem.
thank you for being here and thank you for your comments. You made very interesting comments and very important comments.
At least I can do. It's just like I am very, in a way, flustered about it. Very much interested about these things, and it's happening in front of me and everywhere. But I don't know. I personally have not seen any raids happening in the schools.
It
Okay,
it
not
haven't
not
yet.
not even not
It
even
hasn't
in.
yet. It's just
Hmm,
a rumors that we have been hearing, but till now it hasn't
yeah.
any raid has been there. But we
Hmm.
don't
Or
know
maybe these rumors were spread so that these things
to
we
defame the
can,
government. Yeah.
maybe, yeah, we never know, right?
Yeah, but I don't think anything official has come from the Trump administration over the course of these two
Yeah.
months that
No.
they are going to be raiding in schools. Yeah, illegals will be deported. That is the broad headline. That is in
Hmm.
broad, big red letters everywhere.
Hmm.
But yeah, there was this thing about going into a religious place, Gurudwara, I think, somewhere. So yeah,
That
but that
yeah,
was
that
they are
is
doing inquiries in places of these sanctuary places, if you might call it.
mm-hmm. They did, yeah. And that's why it's creating a lot of chaos for everyone. That why are they considering these places and keeping these sensitive locations being a part of targeting those as a trade one. I mean, sorry, raid one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think
Yeah.
thank you so
Thanks,
much,
guys. Yeah.
Rashni, and thank you so much,
Okay,
ZQ. Also.
thank you so much, Sam, Nepasa, and
Thanks.
ZQ. But
Bye-bye.
before I
Hmm.
go, and I think you guys also will have to agree that after
Mhm.
President Trump has again come to power and again has become president for his second term, now I think at least watching the news has become
More
uh,
interesting.
interesting again, right? So now we
Yes.
know that President Trump, if he's going to speak, and because every time he speaks, we know, right, that something unexpected is going to come. So maybe his interviews, his rallies, and even his tweets,
Yeah.
they feel like more like reality TV than traditional politics. So I am more
So true.
interested in that.
Everybody is, I
And
think.
yes, and also like Rajni, you started this in fact with a news update where you showed the video. So, I mean, people are worried about going to schools and look at the streets. If this is what is happening, then I'm sure that tomorrow everybody's going to be scared to even go out there to wherever they have to, leaving their homes. So anybody and everybody is going to be scared if the situation is like that. I mean, ICE agents, vehicles being burnt is not a joke, and these are all
That's true.
officers. So I'm sure there'll be more security, and let's see what happens.
By doing these things, you're again making the administration be more stricter. I mean, they are going to implement more
Yeah,
strict laws, and they are going to be stricter on you, right? So yeah. So I think that's
it's
it,
like
guys, from my
daily
side.
process.
And
Yeah, they
RK,
are having it coming.
that's true. And RK here says, okay, I think now his comment is completed. It says, if you understand US immigration, if your parents brought you to the country illegally, apart from marriage and humanitarian visa, there is no path to legalization based on your merit unless you self deport. Even if you was extremely talented because your parents brought you illegally, you are limited in your options. The law is designed that way to act as a deterrent. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe RK, it would have been, interesting and good if you could like join us on the call and join us on this session. But if not today, maybe tomorrow, because we are every day here with a daily immigration dose with a new topic. So maybe join us tomorrow on this call by dialing this number. Uh,
Right.
we would love to listen from you and would love to have a discussion and have a chat like this with you too. So,
And
guys, but thank you so
RK,
much.
thank you so much, Rajni, and thank you so much, RK, also. But try to join tomorrow as well, RK. And tomorrow, definitely, we're going to have a great conversation on your comments as well. Today, it's already 1 hour, so we would like to end our session right now. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, ZQ, also for joining this call and putting up a lot of different information to us. And Rajni, also, thank you so much, everyone. And with that, I think I would say don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show, friends. We are live on YouTube and available on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram as well. So check out our channel and follow us as well to keep yourself updated regarding the immigration news ahead. And also do join us tomorrow as we'll come live at 4 p.m. EST on your channel. And our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. So yeah, I think with that, thank you so much, everyone. And Epasa, please go ahead and just say the last goodbye to
Yes.
our viewers.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us once again. And yes, Daily Immigration Dose comes from Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll see you tomorrow again. And before that, I would like to tell you to not forget to subscribe to our channel at Immigration Talk Show. We are on YouTube. So subscribe to us, hit that bell icon so that whenever we have discussions like these, you can join us. And absolutely, you can also contact me, RK. You can also WhatsApp me in this number, or anybody out there. Thank you so much for joining us, RK, Imran, Rajendra, ZQ, Fawad, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us. You can also, drop your questions sometimes if you have, and we have attorneys join us. So you can WhatsApp me in this number. My number is 408-335-6444. And you can also email me, nipa@staffingly.com. And you can also email Sam any questions you have. And her email address is sam@staffingly.com. So thank you so much once again. You all out there have a wonderful day ahead. And yes, check out our Space Immigration Talk Show. Thank you. Bye bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.